Hello, hello. Welcome again to another Wednesday Wisdom meeting. And I'm so excited to be here with you. And I want to continue where we left off. And so if you're following me or you've watched any of my videos, you know that we talked a lot about tax. So in the last couple of videos, we kind of created a connection that exists between the bookkeeping and accounting and tax, because all tax strategy is great. And what I realized after so many years in doing tax planning strategies and any type of tax reduction strategies for business owners, we realize that a lot of the challenges are coming from the accounting side, from the bookkeeping side, from the business owners, or the people that handle bookkeeping for them and in their companies. So we're on this journey together to kind of follow where kind of the money, what's the trace, we trace the money. Where does the money come into our business, and following the money to see until the money gets paid to the IRS or the tax authority to see how can we minimize that. If you watched last week's video, what we did, we discussed about what's the connection between bookkeeping and taxes. And if you want to watch that, please go back and watch that. I think it's an important connection that we need to make and understand before we can jump forward, because we're going to keep building upon each other. So today, what I want to talk to you about is I'll give you 5 different factors that really would impact what kind of accounting you need to track. So before we talk about before we explore each one of those, I want to talk to you about different types of accounting. And you might say, I don't really care about accounting. I'm a small business owner. Who cares? Just get my stuff done. I just care if I make a profit, and I want to pay the lowest bill. But I want you to just be aware. Not all of it is important to you. So I'm not going to, waste your time, but I want you to be aware that there's different types of accounting and each one has its role. So most of the people that, are in business, they're familiar with tax accounting, right? So it's not necessarily the most common one, but tax accounting is really when we go in and we just record the income, the expenses, anything that we need to record just to be compliant with the tax return. I have seen and I have proposed many people, especially in real estate, that they follow exactly the tax format when they record it in their books. And the reason why, and that's tax accounting, the reason why is because we want to make it really easy to file returns. And in real estate, you don't really need managerial decisions, you just need the numbers. For them, the biggest cost is taxes. The biggest cost is going to be, the capital gains. If I'm selling a property, it's going to be directly related to the tax. So their business is really around how much would I pay in tax if I make this move or if I make this move, right? So knowing that fact, tax accounting is simply that, just having those books in place to track all the income, track all the expenses, and really just a helper of the statements that are needed to file the returns. That's it. Okay, so we talked about the connection of bookkeeping and the tax return. So that's tax accounting. So for some reason, cost accounting is in my mind, on the back of my head. So I will talk about that. The next one would be cost accounting. And cost accounting is very, very common in manufacturing companies or other companies where they have the same product that is produced over and over again, exactly the same way. Okay, that doesn't mean when you have custom products, custom furniture, custom anything that's custom, that's not necessarily going to be really good for cost accounting. But cost accounting is where you have mass products. Let's say you produce right now, like the vapes and all this, products with CBD. These are manufactured in mass, right? That's going to be needed. That's going to need cost accounting. They need to know how much does it cost to produce this product? How much does it cost to deliver this service? Okay. So that analyzes, direct cost, indirect cost. There's a lot of it that goes in it. So if you're in that field or in that industry, you know that you probably need it, right? Because we want to know how much is the labor, how much are the materials. Really, really important things to consider, right? So another one would be financial accounting, right? So we had tax accounting, we had cost accounting, we have financial accounting. Financial accounting is the type of accounting used to prepare financial statements. Okay, and we have the income statement, we have the balance sheet, we have the cash flow statement, which a lot of people don't even look at, but they're providing an overview on how the financial position, or how is the business doing, right? And many of the softwares that we're using nowadays are giving that and giving the the illusion that you have all of it in one, tax accounting, financial accounting, all into one, and cost accounting all into one software, which is not always the case, and we'll get to that. But there's also managerial accounting, where we use a lot of that piece in CFO when we analyze trends. So managerial is the type of accounting that really is used for business owners or for businesses to help them make decisions about their operations. So we analyze the financial data to identify a trend, different patterns. We look at KPIs, the key performance indicator of a business, about either pricing, production, investment, how profitable is, how much is the revenue per employee, how much is the revenue per square footage of the building. Those are all going to be in the managerial side. So, as a business owner, and there's a few other ones that you don't need. There's forensic accounting, there's government accounting, nonprofit accounting, and you don't need those because you're not a government, you're not a, any type of agency. And if you're a nonprofit, you're probably, listening to the wrong person, because I work with business owners that are for profit, not nonprofit. So, keeping the ones that are important, I want to add one more, which is not really recognized in the space of accountants. They don't really talk about it a lot, but I find that many of my clients over the years have really experienced this need of project accounting, which is not cost accounting. Project accounting is the accounting where you might have custom designs, you might have different services that are tailored for a specific job, and when that job ends, the job is done, right? So it's job accounting or project accounting. Either one works, right? And there are many different types of industries that you might find this. Okay, so if I didn't lose you so far, so if you didn't get so confused so far, I know accounting is hard to listen to, but I want you to just pay attention. There's different types. That's all you need to know, and each one of them has a different purpose. Now, do you need all of them? How do I know what I need? So I'm going to go really, really quickly over a few factors just to show you what kind of questions and how do you decide what you need. This is why, remember when I'm not sure if you watched a video or two ago, I talked about, before you start plugging in transactions, before you start doing the bookkeeping day to day, reconciling, putting all the data in, sending invoices and receiving all the bills and invoices, you've got to have the architecture of your business. What is your business model? What is it that you're doing? It has to have the architecture. So the question that I'm asking you, that you would ask yourself, are going to help you determine, do you have the architecture in place in which to build and to grow your business, right? So I know this was a long intro, but let's go into number one. Number one factor that I want, the question or that the idea that you want to really look into is, what is the business size and what kind of a complexity is in the business that you are doing, you're following. So if you're running a really small business with very simple accounting needs, you might need very basic bookkeeping and financial accounting services. All of us need tax accounting, and that's being tracked by cash and all accrual. We don't want to get really confused, but you will need, it's very simple. You need very, very simplistic things. So you need to know, how complex is your business? What do you need from your business? And not just what do you need from the business, because even the simplest business, if it's big enough as a business, if you have enough employees, it gets complex by nature. Okay, so what is the business size and complexity? Right? So the more complex the business, the more you need additional accounting services and managerial and cost accounting. It's as simple as that. And next week, I'm going to talk to you about, I'm going to give you 10 questions that you can ask yourself on determining and finding out where and how do you fit all of this. What do you need? What kind of accounting do I need? Okay, so we'll go through those questions next week. So for now, we're going to look at business size and complexity. Number 2, industry, right? Industry and regulatory requirements in your industry. So for example, some industries have very, very specific accounting requirements that must be followed. So if you're in healthcare, we're going to have to follow and comply with HIPAA regulations. It's a very simple thing. The government contractors, they need to comply with the federal acquisition regulations, the FAR. So understanding the industry you're in, what kind of requirements are governing that industry determines what kind of accounting do we need, right? How do we need to comply? What do we need to do to really comply with that and get what we need out of it? Okay, so number 1 was business size and complexity. Number 2, industry and regulatory requirements. Number 3 is financial goals and objectives. So what is your goal? Is your goal to grow your business? Is it maximizing profitability? You might need more advanced accounting services, because how are you going to know if you're getting more profitable if you're not tracking profitability per service, per line of product, per different types of things, right? Per location, right? It can be multiple, per classes. You can have multiple ways of tracking profitability. That's just one example, right? You might need financial forecasting, right? That's based on your financial goals and objectives. If you're focused on minimizing tax liability, right? Remember the connection between tax and accounting? You might want to need some tax accounting services. Now, am I applying tax strategies without kind of diminishing my view of how I'm doing in profitability? Do I have enough profit to even do tax strategy on it? So really interesting, at what point in time do you need multiple types of accounting, and how do you interconnect them so beautifully that they can dance like in a tango, right? So really interesting. So that was number 3, financial goals and objectives. Number 4, it's going to be budget and resources. Now, not all businesses might need a budget. And you might, like some people will say, whoa, everybody needs a budget. And you might say very simple budget. But when I say about budget, the accounting services, they're very varied, right? And they vary in cost. So when your budget and resources, you're choosing the type of accounting services you need, when you get to the budget side, because the budgets are the most time-consuming pieces, and it's not only time-consuming, they're very time-specific. So if I have a budget for, like, if I have a cash flow, budget, or, it usually goes in like 12 weeks or 3 months the most. You can't do it a full year. So what happened in these 3 months might not be true for the next 3 months. Okay, so budgeting is the most costly, and typically when we get to that point, we really have to determine, do we need a budget? Do we need a forecast? Because if you get really advanced in this, you might need to either hire a fractional CFO, or you need to hire someone in-house that can run all these numbers for you, because they're very time specific and very time consuming. So the cost is really high. And this is recommended when you're growing a business, when you're in high growth phase, and you really need that data to make the decisions that you need to make to grow faster. So, obviously the benefits have to outweigh the cost. Always. I always say that. So just make sure that typically, if you don't make $1 million plus in gross revenue, you might not, this might not be worth it. I rarely have seen this being beneficial for a business owner if you're not over $1 million in gross revenue. So I hope this is helpful. Then the personal expertise. Some people that I know, and some business owners, they do not want to outsource their bookkeeping. They don't want to outsource their accounting. So if they want to keep it, they want to do it, then what level and what kind of expertise do you have in finance and accounting? Right? So if you're able to handle the accounting needs, or let's say you want your staff, let's say you do not agree to outsource and you want this to be in-house, then this also is an important factor, what kind of accounting you can track, right? Because your staff might be able to do tax accounting, right, to track all of those, might be able to do some of the financial accounting or some of the cost accounting, but they might not be able to do managerial accounting, or they might not be able to do tax accounting. So depending on who is the who are the people really who you want to be involved determines how this is going to play for you, right? But ultimately, what I want to say is this: the type of accounting services that you need, right, will very much depending on the specific needs of your business on the day-to-day basis, on what your business needs are, what your goals are as a business. So, working with an accounting firm would definitely help, right? But you need to have some ideas. So I'm planting these ideas in your mind so you can really think about, I don't just throw in, oh, just do my books. I just give you my numbers, just tell me what my profit is, and then you have questions that you never answer. So that is good when you're stable, when you're just at the same spot, you don't have a lot of movement. When you grow, this can be a double-edged sword. So you want to know why the cash in the bank is so much and the profit is low. Why is the profit high and the cash in the bank low? Why do I have equity but I don't have the cash? Why do I have the cash and I don't have the equity? Why I take distributions but my basis is, negative? Or why do I do that? Like, there's just so many questions that an owner might have that you need to be able to answer. And passing on this, like, oh, just my bookkeeper needs to know. They need to keep track of this. It's really not like we need to become responsible for our businesses to be able to grow. That's really growth happens both on the personal level and the business level. So I hope this helps you decide and look at, the accounting that you have for your business and make it, try to make it easier for you. Try to just make a decision, but decide the architecture. And I used to call this business plan, and no one cares about the business plan anymore. What's the business model that you follow? How are you going to grow? How are you going to exit? So all of this is helping you make that foundation so you can grow, so you can do whatever you need to do. And we'll talk about growth, we'll talk about scaling, we'll talk about all of that. So I can't wait to share with you all the things that I have prepared for you on the accounting and the tax related for a small business in the United States. So I am really excited to share all this with you. So leave a comment below. So let me know, what are your challenges? What do you see in your business? Have you seen this? Have you talked to your accountant about this before? And where do you see the biggest improvement that you can make? I would love to know what you're struggling with so we can discuss about it together, right? And I'm gonna talk to you next week about the questions, right? And that you can ask yourself to determine what do you need. And we'll go into a couple of different, options and tax software and, accounting software with you. So just stay tuned for the great things that we're gonna talk about in the next few weeks. All the best. Bye-bye.